video.
Here we
With
go.
the release of the Yinlin patch, we've gotten some leaks for the next 2 banner units. According to these leaks, Jinhsi will be the first banner of patch 1.1.
Brother, but I want to see what this character
Conceptually,
does.
you can think of Jinhsi as having 3 states: Basic, Incarnation, and Ordination Glow. She can enter a different state by fulfilling certain conditions, and also depending on which state she is in, she has access to different attacks and skills.
Huh.
Her gameplay also utilizes something called incandescent stacks, which she gains stacks of.
When she's on the team, I'm just gonna full screen this. When she's on the team, all nearby characters on the team gain Eris in Unity. When characters with Eris in Unity deal damage with an attribute, Jinhsi gains 1 incandescence. Damage of the same attribute can provide up to 1 incandescence every 3 seconds. She can hold up to 40, and it regens really slowly, at least from this. And that's just when she's on the team.
Whenever her teammates
So she
deal
can't
damage.
really play solo.
More on
it
that
seems.
later. Jinhsi's basic attack is a 4-part combo.
The dragon's cool, but otherwise that seems very slow.
The heavy
for,
attack is a 3-part spinning
like
slash.
normal basics, but I guess it's got kind of a pseudo AoE and a cone in front of her.
The mid-air attack is a plunging attack that starts and ends with a flip.
I've heard she's very mid-air attack focused.
Jinhsi's skill has 4 variations and upgrades as you perform basic attack chains in her various states. Her base skill, Trailing Lights of Eons, dashes her forward and deals damage to enemies. Using her 4th basic attack or intro skill grants her a new skill, Overflowing Radiance, for 5 seconds. Skill grants her and deals damage to enemies.
So her first skill is a little
Using her
dash and
4th basic
slash.
attack or intro skill grants her a new skill, Overflowing Radiance, for 5 seconds.
Oh, okay. So it's an extension off her basics.
Using this
to go
skill
into, like, a
will
fancy
activate her
thing.
2nd state, Incarnation.
Incarnation.
The Incarnation state lasts for 10 seconds.
Oh lord. While she's in Incarnation, her alternative basic attack, Incarnation basic attack, becomes available. She gets 4 strikes, dealing spectral damage. The basic attack cycle will not be reset, can be cast in midair. Alternative resonance skill, Crescent Divinity, becomes available, can be cast in midair. Alternative heavy attack becomes available, can be cast in hit midair at the cost of stamina. Alternative dodge becomes available, while airborne, can be cast multiple times at the cost of stamina. And your dodge counter can be cast in midair. So she just flies, I guess. I muted it.
And enhances all of her basic attacks. Performing 4 basic attacks in her Incarnation state will allow her to enter her final state,
cool.
Ordination Glow. This state lasts for 5 seconds and replaces all of her basic attacks with enhanced heavy attacks from the Incarnation state. More importantly, it grants Jinhsi access to her 4th and final skill, Illuminous Epiphany. Illuminous Epiphany is the Dragon's Breath attack you see in this clip. This skill consumes all of her incandescent stacks and deals extra damage per stack consumed. If you recall, incandescent stacks are the stacks Jinhsi gains when her teammates deal damage. Stacks can be accumulated at a maximum rate of 1 stack every 3 seconds.
Right.
This skill consumes all of her incandescent stacks and deals extra damage per stack consumed.
Okay.
If you recall, incandescent stacks are the stacks Jinhsi gains.
So she's very, very much going to be a character that you damn near don't even use her until you can do her whole long ass combo to have the dragon barf on the like the boss when it's broken, right? It's you broke its bar. You have its 40, 81 to, like, yeah, you're never going to have it max stacks. That's 2 minutes in most content. That's too much. Unless you pre-charge her stacks and she can just hold them going into like the TOA or something, which would be stupid, but I don't think that works. So, oh, but for like the tactical holograms, it could be kind of funny. No, I think that resets you too. I don't know. So she's absorbing all these stacks from your teammates playing the game, and then she comes out and does her long ass combo to get into the air, to do a long ass combo to go into her other state, to then click her skill a second time to have the dragon come out and barf all of that incandescence out for massive damage. From what I've heard too, her scaling on her ult is the highest scaling in the game base for her ult. So she might have something where she dragon barfs and then like ults, or vice versa, and have absolutely massive damage. like once in a fight, which kind of cool, but I almost don't want to pull for a character that I don't get to play. Am I crazy?
Gains when her teammates deal damage. Stacks can be accumulated at a maximum rate of 1 stack every 3 seconds, with damage from the same element sharing the same internal cooldown. In other words, you can accumulate incandescent stacks quicker if you use teammates that have different types of elemental damage. Jinhsi can also reduce this cooldown to 1 stack every second for 20 seconds after using her outro skill.
Okay. This is, yeah, so her outro skill gives the cooldown's less for 20 seconds. So you're swapping off of her, and for 20 seconds you're trying to go back and forth to stack that up between your 2 other characters with low cooldowns. So Danjin Sanhua or something crazy, or like Danjin Ling Yang. So you just switch skill, or I guess basic attacks deal the elemental damage too. So never mind, I'm dumb, but so you're using her and then like another Spectro support probably. Spectro Rover with high enough sequence gives Spectro damage shred and heals. And then like Baizhi or something even, right? To stack her up as quickly as you can. You're not gonna get 20 from her outro, but you can get close to 1 per rotation. But even then, that's 20 seconds for, let's say, half of her stacks. I mean, really, it'd be half of her stacks min-maxed for her, not min-maxed for damage for your team. It would still take you 80 seconds. That's a minute and 20 just to get her max stacks.
Jinhsi's ultimate, Resonance Liberation, is a straightforward nuke that deals a ton of damage and can be cast mid-air. It's worth noting that her ulti has a very high cost, so it might be difficult to ulti on every single cycle.
Oh yeah, it will
Putting
be.
it all together, her basic on-field
Well, I guess if
ulti
you run Veyrina on this team, it's a 24-second cooldown for 150 cost. But the scaling, I mean, literally look at that. 5, 6, 7. That's over 800% scaling at level 1. God damn. Seriously, level 1, 800% scaling. That's double Sanhua, who's known for having like a higher scaling ult. Because she, yeah, I mean, wow. Taoshi's... Taoshi gets up to 400% at max level. I think it was. And Sanhua goes up to 800% max level. And I haven't looked at any other DPS. So all my other DPSs ult into forms, not damage. But yeah, this is absurd scaling. I'm curious what her skills scaling is too.
Putting it all together, her basic on-field rotation will likely look something like this. Intro, Skill 2, Skill 3, Basic Attack 4, and Skill 4.
Okay. I didn't know. So off of intro, you can go into your second skill, which brings you into the air. That's really, really good knowledge, so she doesn't have to basic. And you can skill 3 without having to basic as well, which is something I also didn't know. And then you... Yeah, wait, no. 2 goes into the air, 3 in the air. You have to basic attack 4 times then, and then get to skill 4 for the Dragon Barf. Yeah, okay. So it just gets rid of that initial basic attacks to get to skill 2 from the ground. Speeds are up a little bit. Intro skill 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, and then ult if you can, and then switch is a little bit better, but...
With possibly some heavy attacks before the final skill for some energy if you're close to your ulti. Remember to use your skill 3 before your 4th basic attack in her incarnation state, since she'll automatically move on to the ordination glow state after her basic attack 4. If you don't have her intro skill at the start, you'll still perform the same rotation, but you would use skill 1 and a basic attack combo before activating skill 2. That'll end up looking something like this. Skill 1 into basic attack 4, into skill 2, into skill 3, into a basic attack 4, and then ending with skill 4. And finally,
Very
if you have her
straightforward
ulti available,
character
it'll likely be
so
easiest
far.
to use it at the beginning or end of her rotation, so it doesn't interfere with it. However, you can use it whenever you're comfortable, since it doesn't really interact with your kit. All of her sequences are impressive.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna read these. Her sequence node 1, her basic attack incarnation, or her skill, gain a stack of Herald of Revival, which stacks up 4 times, lasts for 6 seconds. When you use a resonance skill, Luminous Epiphany, she consumes them all. Each stack increases the damage of resonance skill, Luminous Epiphany. So I'm assuming that's a Dragon Barf. So good damage boost, sequence 1. Actually, like, depending on the scaling for that, could be really good. Sequence node 2. She recovers 40 incandescence while staying out of combat for more than 4 seconds. So for her to function, she has to have S2, is what I'm kind of seeing, because otherwise she's so much slower on rotations to function properly. Like, you still run her quick swap, but you just cannot use her Dragon Barf skill forever. This allows you to do it in 4 seconds. Wow. So if I get Jinhsi, I have to get S2. S3 is... After intro, you get 12 incandescence and a stack of Immortal's Descendancy, which you don't need. Although the attack bonus is kind of nice. I'm not going to lie. And it stays if you switch, I'm assuming, which is how you can get it stacked up twice from doing her intro skill. So you switch in, switch out to like Vayrina, charge her intro skill immediately again, switch back in, and then you have a 50% attack boost. And your 24 incandescence. Sequence node 4, Benevolent and Grace. You're getting ult and skill damage bonus. When you use it, your teammates get damage boost. It's S5. Your ult damage multiplier is just increased by 120%, because why the hell not? And S6 is... Oh, wow. Damage multiplier percent for your skill is increased by 45%. The multiplier increase brought by incandescence is additionally increased by 71%. Hopefully that's total, because if that's per incandescence scaling, oh no, this character is going to be stupid meta at S6. Like, one taps level 100 bosses meta at S6. 71% extra scaling times 40. Basically. What is that? 2,800 scaling? On top of its base skill, so probably 3,000% damage scaling. Wow. On top of what it is. On top of what it is. That has to be total. Like, it just adds 71% on top of whatever each incandescence adds. I hope, because that would be insane.
Some additions to her damage, but her second sequence seems to be the sweet spot for those who want to invest more into her,
oh, yeah,
but aren't planning to max her out at S6. Her S1 effectively increases the damage of her
I'll try
final
to get
skill
her
by
S2.
80% by granting a stack. I'll practically ignore her stack building mechanic completely.
What was that?
This basically means she's off the field for 4 seconds.
Oh, just sequence.
In a
Okay,
standard
just
team cycle,
number 2.
always her stature banner weapon is Ages of Harvest.
Its attack, crit rate, scaling. It's not as high scaling on crit rate as Yinlin's weapon, but it's much, 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 much higher base attack. Heaven Blessed, you gain extra damage bonus for all attributes. Wielders bestowed with Divine Blessings gains 1 stack. Each basic strike up to 4, which is removed when they leave the field at 4 stacks. The wielder consumes all stacks. When casting the next resonance skill, damage increases by a lot for whatever seconds. Right. So you get a 48% damage increase. Just outright damage to her skill. So her weapon with her, the scaling, Jesus Christ, it's stupid. Like, there's not really any Spectro supports so much other than just Vayrina being a generalistic support. But, wow. Weapon plus... So that's 80 pulls. Just to have the weapon. That's 80 pulls. And Jinhsi is another 3 pities. I mean, you have to have her S2. You don't have to, but you have to, you know. Holy balls.
On top of being a
That's
crit rate
a lot. And then, so what's his thoughts for team comps?
We'll most likely want to take a multi-elemental team with a sub-DPSer that could also potentially be a great teammate.
Ooh, you know, I didn't think about this. Having off-field DPS to trigger while she's on-field doing damage. This is a really good point. Yinlin and Mortefi both being able to apply here because she does heavies in her incandescent state. Or her cloud, whatever state. She does enhanced heavies. So Mortefi triggers, Yinlin also triggers every second. That's actually a really good idea. That's a really powerful team. No heals, but very powerful team. I'm curious what Taoshi though.
Damage buff to skill damage.
Oh, Taoshi being the skill damage increase on outro. Right.
S2 enjoyers have more flexibility because they no longer need to consider incandescent stack generation. Mono-elemental teams become more viable, and units that can buff Spectro damage, such as Spectro Rover S6 and Vayrina S4, might become Jinhsi's
Vayrina
best
S4, yeah, that's expensive. You can't just pick that's what you're going for. Ah, that's expensive. If anyone has Vayrina S4, that's some whale shit. But, yeah, no, S6 Rover I can see being pretty good, but yeah, Mortefi and Yinlin actually is a crazy team comp, or even just honestly, even just depending on how she plays and her optimal rotation, Mortefi or Yinlin with Taoshi is also sick too. Just to hit Taoshi, ult, skill, Q, whatever, and then switch off, right? To give the damage bonus. So my main characters that I'm building, lucky me, I'm gonna have to pull Jinhsi. Damn. But this is nice. I like this a lot, actually.
Keep in mind that these are just...
Okay, so Jinhsi comes down to... you get her S2, you build her literally however you want. You have her not S2, you have to run some off-field DPSs, it sounds like, or very, very quick hot swap DPSs like Sanhua, Danjin maybe, just because you... Not really Danjin. Who's a good hot swap DPS? Encore is actually decent. You hot swap in, click skill switch out. Sanhua, click skill switch out. Jinhsi. And Jinxi's like your more on-field character. It also depends on how hot swappable she is in animation, which is something I'm not personally a fan of, which is why I'm gonna like Gion, because you don't switch out playing Gion a lot. Kalcharo is actually going to be the biggest skill issue I think I'm ever gonna face, and I just downloaded Elden Ring earlier today. So I think she's gonna be fun actually, and having a Spectre, she looks cool. The dragon barfing on everything is sick. I don't even care. So that's dope. Next up, we have the Changli.
Once again, we have the details for Changli as well as her character that uses a sword.
So she's a 1-sword fusion DPS. Signature dishes I did not know existed, so this is news to me.
Her
Let's
plate or her
see.
dish of choice.
Where are we at for stats? Okay, her basics. She enters True Sight. Okay. Her skill enters so she has a form for True Sight, basically. True Sight captures 2 initial attempts, can be used up to 2 times in order to increase by 1 every 12 seconds. Okay. Basic attack, True Sight Conquest. When in True Sight, if she uses ground basic attack, she releases True Sight Conquest, rapidly approaching the enemy and dealing fusion damage. And then her True Sight ends. True Sight Charge. When she jumps or uses basic attack in mid-air, she releases True Sight Charge, dashing towards the enemy and dealing forte damage considered as resonant skill damage after True Sight ends.
Skill, and then we're gonna go ahead and see what's cooldown on this table. Could be like Conquest, duration of True Sight
What's
capture.
her ult look like?
She has
So she seems very skill based. Depending on what her true sight damage scales off of, she seems very based upon skill damage, from what I can tell, right? This is just what I can tell.
It's 2 states, 5.
But I do just want to say as well, her ult scaling is really good at level 1. It's, what is that, 610% on a 20-second cooldown, 150 cost. Not amazing, but she gets 4 stacks of Inflamement and enters Fiery Feather when she releases heavy attack, Flaming Sacrifice. Within 10 seconds, her attack is increased, after which Fiery Feather ends, so she goes into another form. So she's another really heavy form-based character. I like Taoshi. She parries, and that's about it. That's all you have to give a shit about. So sequences. For each stack of Inflamement, her fusion damage is increased. When she does her heavy attack, fancy heavy attacks, her fusion damage bonus is increased more. And defense ignoring when dealing the damage.
Fiery Feather.
That's a new effect.
Her inherent or Resonance Liberation.
Oh, these are not sequences. These are inherent skills. Okay, just ignoring defense is even better than defense shredding. In most scenarios for like a selfish damage dealer, which is what she seems to be. Because right now, like, that's the most ignoring the defense of the character stat we have.
Radiance of Fealty, so after by an extreme True Sight, and the easiest one is in Resonators.
Okay, here's her Forte circuit. If she heavies with 4 stacks of Inflamement, she consumes all stacks and does Flaming Sacrifice. As resonant skill damage, I was right. So she's a very skill-based damage dealer. She gains stacks of Inflamement for basic attack True Sights, basic attack True Sight charges, conquests, and her ult. She gains 4 when she ults, which makes sense with how the ult works. And the damage of Flaming Sacrifice, or Flaming Vow, whatever it is pretty solid, all things considered. Just a basic 4 times. True Sight basic 4 times. She's probably weaving her skill in and out, is what I'm assuming.
Damage by 20%, and the I don't know, insanely high. That's 1 stack every time per stack. Until you release the heavy ammo, it makes it that much easier. Resonant Chain
nodes. Okay, here we go. Resonance skill, Tripartite Flames and Heavy Attack Flaming Vow increases her damage dealt by 10% and resistance to interruption. That's kind of nice. Inflamement increases her crit damage by 30%. Kind of nice. S3 damage increased by 80% for her ult. That's pretty good. That's almost just double damage that her ult deals. That's probably a really big damage breakpoint for her rotations. S4, her intro skill, increases the attack of all team members by 20% for 30 seconds. That's the longest buff I think we have in the game. For a solid attack boost. So that's really nice, just to intro, click your buttons, leave, and then your other 2 teammates still get the boost. For like, that's just a full 20% attack boost forever, basically. If your whole 3-character team rotation is, especially with the fusion DPSs we have now, like Encore and everything, if you're spending more than 30 seconds on field between your 3 characters before introing again with Changli, you're wrong. Chishia, I guess. Chishia would be the only one. Heavy Attack Flaming Vow multiplier increased by 50%. When Heavy Attack is released, her attack is increased by additional 50%. That's really good scaling because it's base stat and the damage of that hit. And her skill, Heavy Attack, and ult ignore an additional 40% of the target's defense when dealing damage. So if they have half defense, I don't know the exact scalings. Let me open it. Let's see. Enemy defense. This does not account for that. Shit, this is just... Oh, no, enemy resistance. So... No. Enemy resistance plus resistance reduction. Okay, I don't know how to read this then. Okay, we are looking at a 55% defense reduction. Dude. So she just shreds. Her damage goes through everyone's defense. It's as if you're fighting a training dummy. Almost. They have almost no defense. you can fight her into things that resist fusion damage and still deal the same amount of damage, basically. Because if they take half damage because they resist it, and you're dealing double damage because they have half the defense, that's like reducing your damage output. That's big. Her S6 is a massive nuclear bomb for her ult, especially because her ult's getting so much scaling with everything else, right? What a nuke. Holy. I don't know how she plays though. I didn't get to see anything, so I need to keep looking. What are we? Yeah, Changli kit revealed. Is there any down here? Any Changli? No. Wuwa Changli gameplay. I'm very curious. She looks aesthetically similar to Taoshi, which I like. But Jesus jiggle physics. Wow. Okay, let's get past the walking and running around. Show me some kit gameplay. I missed it. Oh, that's cool. The sword has like after images. She looks like she plays very, very quickly. And kind of evasively too. I imagine she's probably going to be one of like the main solo carry DPSs. As far as like how easily she is to no hit run bosses and stuff. I like the parasol. That's cool. Oh, she can... What the hell? That's so cool. She can just fly. Damn it. I'm gonna have to get her too. What's with 1.1 having really floaty, just flying characters, though? But, yeah, so I'm gonna have to get both of them. That sucks. Damn it. Hey, I've spent money worse other places. I have, like, $500 into Fortnite just in cosmetics. At least this I can play the game, right? No, these two characters look very, very cool. I'm gonna be pulling for both of them. Probably S2 Jinhsi for sure, because that makes her a lot more fun. Changli, maybe not as much, because I don't think there's any big breakpoint till S6, other than just like extra damage. But she seems very, very cool, so I'm going to get her at least one copy anyways. I don't know what her weapon is. I don't know if I need to know what her weapon is, because I'm probably going to have to get it anyways, because let's be honest here, weapons are better than characters in games like this. As you can tell with the Yinlin weapon, that Yinlin weapon is literally never going to get outscaled unless it's a different passive built for a on-field, like, long-term, like, DPS that sits on field for a long time. Very, very cool characters. I'm excited for patch 1.1. And, yeah, no, that's going to hurt my wallet a little bit.